Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On the News Hour tonight, troops rescue 6 Gusau University students hours after abduction. Kebbi State government shuts down mining sites over security concerns. Plateau Tribunal upholds Governor Muftwang's election victory. And on the foreign scene, Ghana police arrest 49 persons as high cost of living triggers street protests across Accra. Thank you very much for joining us on the news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in Zamfara as operatives of the Joint Task Force Operation Hadarin Daji have intercepted the abduction of the abductors of female students of the Federal University Gusau who were kidnapped in the early hours of Friday, rescuing 6 students in the process. Reports say the troops pursued the kidnappers, tracing them to a thick forest, engaging them in a gun duel supported by air components of the Nigerian Air Force. A source in the military said 6 of the abducted students were rescued in the process and several terrorists have been neutralized. The troops also recovered firearms, motorcycles and other items from the terrorists. The rescue operation follows the abduction of the female students from their rented hostels at Sabongida community, few meters from the Federal University of Gusau. Well, a little earlier, I spoke to Dr. Lara Rollins, a retired U.S. Marine and security expert and the Vice President, Security and Safety at the American University in Yola, on the developments in Zamfara.
Today, it is core members. There was a time when it was school children. There was a time when it was farmers. The bandits are just choosing their targets wisely, where it is most vulnerable and where they can easily access the vulnerability of their victims. On the other hand, the military did put up a good fight. From what I was told, and what we all know is that the military did try to attack. The military went after them with some good firepower. For some reason, the bandits were able to escape with their students, with their core members. And so that tells me that this was easily planned. It was well orchestrated. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they were able to thwart the attack of the military by escaping with all of those. And by the way, it was a lot of students, a lot of core members that they were able to take away. So it tells me this was well planned and well orchestrated. I have to commend the military for the quick action and decisive action. It tells me that they are on top of the game. In the past, as you mentioned, no one would have responded. And even though that they were able to abduct these core members, they had to put up a fight to get these core members and to take them back into the forest. This tells me that perhaps the security chiefs are very serious, or the new ones are very serious about putting an end to banditry and to terrorism, say, let's just say violence as a whole, because this has never really happened before. And the fact that they were right there to engage them in combat, real-time combat, it tells me that these guys are no nonsense, the military that is. My only concern is when you are abducting people and there is a gunfight, many times the victims become the fatalities.
Staying in Zamfara, residents of Zamfara State, in reaction to developments in the state, are calling on the federal government to demonstrate strong political will in tackling the security challenges bedeviling the state to restore peace and stability for the socioeconomic activities in the state to thrive. Now, they made the call in an interview with Trust Television News in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital, following the recent upsurge in activities of bandits which have crippled agricultural activities in the state.
With banditry activities taking a toll on economic activities in Zamfara State, northwest Nigeria, residents are expressing fear that there is a possibility of a food crisis if nothing is done urgently by the government to address the lingering security challenges confronting the state and part of the troubled northwest. They narrated that the men have started from cattle rustling and gradually gravitated to kidnapping for ransom, maiming, attacking and killing of innocent citizens. There's also the imposition of levies on farmers before they can access their farmlands for farming, adding that when the harvest season sets in, the farmers will also be asked to pay levies to harvest their crops. For retired Army Captain Mohammed Meyachi, the escalation in attacks and kidnapping in Zamfara State in recent times was an attempt by the armed bandits to force the government to call them to the negotiation table after the state government had made its position clear that it will not dialogue with them. Meyachi disclosed that the armed bandits adopted 12 persons at Meyachi town and killed 2, while at Jambaku community they adopted 20 and killed 1. He added that they are carrying out their activities along the Funtua-Gusau highway on a daily basis, unleashing terror on innocent travelers.
The only place where it has gone down is between Kaura to Shinkafi, where Tuji has piped down. But from Gusau to Ansada to Bad, from Gusau, by the time you pass 50, 40, 30 kilometers past Tazame to Funtua, you are in trouble.
Umar Mohammed is a resident of Maradun town in Maradun local government, which is one of the epicenters of banditry activities. He explained that banditry started like herder-farmer conflict and later graduated to where some people acquired firearms and started attacking communities, kidnapping people for ransom and raping women and children.
This issue of banditry supposed to have a serious attention from the government. You see, we have been experiencing the situation and we are handicapped also.
For Abdullahi Chakwa, banditry has graduated from kidnapping to commercialization of crime in the state, noting that if the government is committed to ending the menace, it will address youth unemployment, which he believes is one of the factors responsible for the escalation of insecurity.
Now, those that are idolized in the society, therefore, government must to take stride measures, must to take giant action to deal decisively with the issue of unemployment among youth.
Muhammad Meyachi and Umar Mohammed urged the government to be decisive in combating the armed bandits, insisting that negotiating with the bandits for now is not an option the government should think of.
The bandits, the police and the rest of them, the farmers, come together and agree that they will allow the farmers to harvest their crops. So that's the aim. Their behavior was necessitated by the fact that they want the government to call them for negotiation.
They all insisted that since all hideouts of the armed bandits are known, especially to the security agencies, the government should take the fight to the enclaves and clear them off because the bandits have wreaked havoc on innocent citizens as well as the economic activities in Zamfara State and parts of Northwest.
Staying with security matters, vigilante groups are increasingly becoming the last line of defense for local communities battling banditry and insurgency in northern Nigeria. Even as non-state actors, local vigilante groups in northwest Nigeria are in the forefront of the fight against banditry. Now, in this report, Jamil Mabai chronicles vigilantism and its evolution into a strong force in Katsina State.
Katsina is one of the frontline areas battling banditry, but has leveraged and utilized the use of vigilante groups in the fight. According to experts, these groups possess an intimate knowledge of the local terrain but lack the rudiments of executing war.
In almost every village in the state, there are some groups who are called vigilantes, the so-called volunteer groups, and they are composed of people from the locality. Some of them are ex-policemen, ex-military, some are even working.
From using local Dane guns to pump-action shotguns, the civilian JTF, as they are called, have improved their defensive and offensive strategy on account of persistent bandits' attacks.
The government agreed with our supervision that they will train them in the appropriate place, they will invite the army and the police to train them, and which the government did. And they assured them that since now they are getting to learn the rudiments of warfare, they will be encouraged to acquire the necessary weapons that are legally allowed to be carried by citizens.
One of the key advantages of vigilante groups is their understanding of the region's terrain, including hidden routes and hideouts commonly used by bandits.
Most of these vigilante members are from the immediate environment, that is, immediate communities. They know the terrain more than the security agents, and in most cases, they know these bandits and they are informants more than the security agents.
And the good advantage of these vigilantes, they know the terrain, each and every one of them. If you go to Bazari, the vigilantes that are there, they know every nook and corner of Bazari, and they know the hideouts of the bandits. They know their capacities. They know their identities.
Unlike conventional security operatives backed by law and rigorous training, vigilante groups are often engaged in activities that frustrate the fight against banditry.
I've seen a lot of cases where extrajudicial killings were involved.
Especially in the area of security, we are doing as much as possible to ensure that we bring about some innovations in the security architecture of the state that will help us to mitigate the activities of the bandit and
The Katsina State government says it has so far recruited at least 1,500 community watch volunteers, drawn from the 8 frontline local government areas of the state, to complement the war against bandits. These volunteers have the backing of the law, unlike the vigilante groups in the state. Jamilu Mabai, Trust TV News, Katsina.
All right, let's unpack this development with Muhammad Ali, a Kaduna-based security analyst. Join us on the news to help us navigate some of the talking points around the participation of vigilante groups as non-state actors in the fight against bandits and other security threats in our communities. Mr. Muhammad Ali, thank you very much for joining us on the news. Appreciate you for making the time. Now, for some Nigerians, right, the participation and the growing presence of non-state actors like vigilante groups, whether it's civilian, JTF or hunters, signpost the inadequacy within our security architecture. What is your take on that vis-a-vis the impact they're having in mitigating the activities of bandits?
Well, violent conflict between sedentary agrarian communities and pastoralist Fulani in the northwest and north central geopolitical.
Hello?
Threatening safety. Hello?
Right, go ahead. We can hear you now.
Threatening safety, security, and stability region, and by implication, infecting Nigeria's national security. I think it is as a result of this, and because of the challenges posed to our security agencies, that certain people, or to be precise, the farming communities that is predominantly dominated by Hausa-speaking people decided to come together and organize themselves into groups they called Ensakai, literally meaning volunteer group or volunteer guards. This was the beginning of the vigilante group or Mbanga or Ensakai, depending on what part of the country or state they are operating, because they go with different names. Like in Kaduna here, we have a state agency, the Kaduna State Vigilance Service, that was created by Law Number 10 of 2016. We also have the vigilante group that, of course, has been one of the oldest in existence in the country. But generally speaking, they are assisting to some extent, but jungle justice is what characterized the activities of Ensakai before this time. And this was what has triggered the escalation of banditry, cattle rustling, and kidnapping as we are witnessing today.
Right. Right.
And in the process...
Mr. Ali, if I can just chime in here. For most Nigerians,
yes.
the participation of
yes.
non-state actors like vigilante groups or Ensake or Mbanga, as they're locally known, is a no-brainer
yes.
because of the gaps within the security architecture itself. Have they been a force for good in most cases? Because we've seen that collaboration with the civilian JTF, for instance, in Maiduguri in the fight against Boko Haram. But we also know that there's a downside to it where information easily get leaked as a result of their involvement or collaboration with the government. From your understanding, what is the best way to normalize this collaboration between governments and non-state actors like the vigilante groups?
The best way is we have to go back to the drawing boards. Most of these people were not vetted. They are just brought on board. So some of them have a lot of dark spots within them. Some of them are themselves criminals. Some of them are informants to the bandits. We have a very good case here in Kaduna State, where in last year, a member of the State Vigilance Service was caught supplying weapons to bandits in Kachi local government. Last week in Katsina, one Ibrahim Abdullahi was caught with over 200 ammunitions taken to Batsari Forest to one Yusufa, a bandit. So there needs to be caution in recruiting whoever will work as a non-state actor. We need to vet them. They have to go through the rigors of screening and vetting. We need to know their backgrounds. Some of them are criminals themselves. So it is not enough for them to be brought in. This is why we have a lot of lacuna in the process of engagement.
Okay. And now, does this, in your view, add value to the conversation around advocacy for state policing, for instance? Because obviously, the centralized control within the architecture itself, whether it's the military or the Nigerian police, is what has given rise to this increasing participation of non-state actors like the vigilante groups to address and augment where the police or the security architecture generally is lacking.
In actual fact, I'm not an advocate for state police because this is we're under a democratic dispensation, and with the garrison manner some of our state governors are behaving, by the time you give them the mandate to run as state police, opposition politicians in their states will really be in a serious mess. So the best thing we need to do is for government to improve in the recruitment of members of the Nigerian police. The Nigerian police is underfunded, is understaffed, and is under-equipped. So if we will tackle this head-on, ensure that every year fewer than 200,000 able-bodied men and women are recruited into the Nigerian police, so that we'll be able to meet the United Nations ratio of 1 policeman to 400 people. What we have today is not adequate. And again, it has been bastardized by the rush to send policemen guarding senators, going about with members of the House of Reps, governors, and so on. You find in one state house, one government house, over 40 policemen. What are they doing? Any politician that needs the services of security men, they should approach service providers. Yeah,
Mohammed, go ahead. You have a few seconds before we wrap up the conversation,
okay,
so go ahead.
So for that reason, I think what we need to do is to look inwards, improve on our recruitment mechanism, improve on the issue of welfare,
right?
Improve on the issue of equipping not just the police, all our security agencies. Right. They are under-equipped and not having
in the fight. According to experts, these groups possess an intimate knowledge of the local terrain but lack. Katsina is one of the frontline areas battling banditry, but has leveraged and utilized the use of vigilante groups in the fight. According to experts, these groups possess
little manpower available, even though the Inspector General of Police has significantly made inroads in withdrawing some of those police personnel that have been attached to VIPs and private individuals because of that manpower deficit. But we're going to have to anchor the conversation here for now. Muhammad Ali, thank you very much for joining us on the program. Really appreciate your thoughts and insight on this matter.
Thank you for having me.
Right, that is Muhammad Ali, a security expert based in Kaduna, giving his thoughts on vigilante groups and their contribution to the fight against banditry, especially in northern Nigeria. Moving on to some of the day's other news. The Kebbi State government has announced a ban on all mining activities in the state over security situation at the sites and the need to protect mining workers as well as host communities, putting in place measures for revenue generation and corporate social responsibility within the industry. Addressing journalists in Birnin Kebbi on Friday, the secretary to the state government, Yakubu Tafida, says the government's decision to suspend mining activities in the state is a precautionary measure aimed at ensuring the safety of mining workers and people across communities. He said the state government is not unmindful of the fact that mining is under the exclusive legislative list, yet its decision to suspend mining activities in the state was made after a thorough assessment of the current security situation across mining sites. Now, the secretary to the state government said the administration in the state believes that it is of utmost importance to prioritize protection and security of its citizens, as well as safeguard against converting the mining fields to breeding criminal elements by unauthorized foreigners and non-indigents with questionable characters, with attendant consequences of increase in banditry across those communities. Away from security, the Plateau State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Jos has upheld the election victory of Governor Caleb Mutfwang of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The tribunal also dismissed the petition filed by the candidate of the All Progressive Congress for lacking merit. Ado Musa has the latest.
Independent National Electoral Commission had declared Governor Caleb Mutfwang as the winner of the governorship election held on March 18. But the APC candidate, who came second in the election, Nenta Wilwadda, had challenged the declaration of Mutfwang and asked the court to declare him winner on the grounds that the PDP failed to conduct ward congresses and that there was overvoting in some polling units during the election. The petitioner also argued that the governor did not score the highest lawful votes, asking the court to declare all the vote cast for the governor as wasted votes. Delivering judgment led by the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Erele Efine, said the issues raised by the petitioner on party structure were pre-election matters, and the petitioner lacked the locus to challenge it. The tribunal also held that there was no evidence that Governor Mutfwang did not score the highest lawful vote in the election. Counsel to the APC and PDP candidates speak on the judgment.
Obviously, we're in a judicial system that encourages appeals, and you are all aware that in Nigeria, sometimes decisions of lower courts are overturned in the appellate courts.
The petitioner has no cause to challenge the nomination of the governor, who is in another party from that of the petitioners.
The state chapter of APC, while reacting to the judgment, called on its supporters to remain calm, as the candidate of the party will appeal the judgment at the appellate court. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Still talking politics, hoodlums have reportedly invaded the house of an SDP stalwart in Kogi State, Abdul Yusuf Amici, at Ugolawo, the headquarters of a local government area of the state, vandalizing the house and burning vehicles in the compound. According to reports, the hoodlums carried out their attack between Wednesday night and the early hours of Thursday. According to the victim, Abdul Yusuf, the hoodlums stormed his house at night, shooting sporadically and in the process setting ablaze the cars in his compound, including carting away some of the valuables like generators from his household. The Director General of the SDP campaign organization in Kogi State, Ibrahim Jibrin, who visited the scene of the incident, condemned the act and promised to inform the appropriate authorities. Now, the Kogi State Police Command's Public Relations Officer, SP William Aya, did not respond to calls for comment on this development. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has ordered the revocation of 167 plots of land in some highbrow districts across Abuja. The administration, through a publication in some national dailies, published the names and the plot numbers of the affected allottees. Some of the plots revoked in Maitama District 105 were owned by Liel Imoke, Musa Aboki Egu, Hassan Hadeja and Ishaya Baba. In Jabi District, some of the plots revoked had allottees such as Sam Nda Isaiah, the late Sam Nda Isaiah, Donubari Josephine Kogbara, while in Katampe District, there are people like Peter Obi, Boa International, among others, as allottees. Also affected in other areas are titles belonging to Julius Berger Nigeria, Honeywell Construction, Ufot Joseph Ekaite, Shitu Muhammad, Udoma, Kanu Agabi, Nikki Tobi, Ishaku Bello, among others. Speaking exclusively to our reporter, the director of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Information and Communication, Hazard Sule, says the titles were revoked primarily because they were left undeveloped after some decades. Now, he said under the right of occupancy conditions, the allottees in the service areas are requested to develop the plots within 2 years. Latest revocation has nothing to do with ground rent, but undeveloped plots in the district with necessary infrastructure. Now, the price of cooking gas has spiked in Maiduguri metropolis as a kilogram of gas is now sold at 1,000 naira. The soaring price is connected to price volatility as retailers believe 12 kg of gas will hit 18,000 naira by December. Our correspondent Beatrice Kurosi reports that some residents are bemoaning the situation, which they say will exacerbate the economic hardship being experienced across the country. His report.
It would be recalled that gas retailers in Nigeria warned that the price of gas will be hiked due to the exorbitant charges at the terminal points. These warnings took effect recently as prices of cooking gas has increased, and some Maiduguri residents feel bad about the new development, stressing that it will cause more hardships on them.
Seriously, I'm surprised at some point because this is what I normally buy at the range of 700 to 800 naira, but just to come today and find that the price of 1,000 naira per kg, it's actually surprising seeing how our economy is really melting.
We have not finished the subsidy. Even the subsidy now, people are even dying. People are sleeping. They have reduced their square meals to 2. Some 1, some none. Some once in 2 days. Some even they don't even have self. You see beggars all over. Everybody is becoming a beggar. And now see another one coming up. Gas. Even feeding self, one cannot feed. Firewood is difficult. Charcoal is expensive.
Yeah. Kowane kg. 6 kg.
A kg is 1,000 naira and 6 kg is 6,000 naira. It's just too much because now you don't get money as usual, and it has made life difficult for me. To feed your family is very difficult too. Everything has increased. You see, things are getting hard. You can't even save anymore. The residents appealed to the government to set up a price control agency to check unnecessary hike in prices of commodities and services that affect lives of Nigerians.
Government should quickly come in and regulate the price, and even the people that own the gas terminal, I think they should be spoken to. I think they used to talk about the price control before. I don't know. I've long heard about that. I don't know what's the problem. Is there any price control in existence? If the price, everybody will just wake up and just put his own price at any time that you feel like doing. I think the government should come in quickly.
When it comes to advice, I believe a lot have been said, a lot have been done. Let's just keep hoping that our economy is going to move to the better side of the expectation.
Many residents want the cooking gas price hike reversed. It remains to be seen if the government will consider their plea. Bitrus Kuruti, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up ahead, we'll tell you the story of the virtuous tricycle rider in Kano who returned millions of naira. More on this and many other stories coming up ahead after the break. Join us again. Welcome back to the news. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories at this hour. Troops rescue 6 Gusau University female students hours after abduction. Kebbi State government shuts down mining sites across the state over security concerns. Now, diphtheria outbreak is posing a great public health risk to residents across Borno State, where dozens have already died from the disease. Now, the State Director of the Disease Control, Dr. Aliyu Mailafia, said this in an interview with Trust TV on the outbreak of the disease in Borno State.
Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has revealed that diphtheria, a highly contagious and potentially life-threatening bacterial disease, has killed scores of people in the country. Field Communication Officer of an international health organization, Medicines Sans Frontières (MSF), through Abdul Karim Yakubu, said MSF teams treated 6,707 suspected and confirmed cases in Kano, 110 cases in Borno, and 21 cases in Bauchi. It said several other suspected cases are under surveillance across the country. However, around 4,000 suspected cases were recorded nationwide. Borno State Director Disease Control Dr. Aliyu Mailafia explains the causes, spread and preventive measures to curtail the contagious disease in the state.
Diphtheria is an acute disease. The diphtheria is caused by a bacteria called Corynebacteria diphtheriae. which can infect anybody, but is more common in children below the age of 4. However, in our situation in Borno State, most of our cases, about 70% are ages above 2 years to 14 years.
Women and children aged under 5 are said to be the most vulnerable groups and are the people most affected in the society.
For Borno, we have about 262 suspected cases, those who shows the sign of the disease. But among those, only 14 were confirmed to have diphtheria. So, and also all these numbers are in 8 LGS. So we have already conducted targeted response to these diphtheria outbreaks in those settlements where we have cases, suspected cases. So we have conducted, and now those of Mobile is ongoing now. They are doing the vaccination now.
Diphtheria can lead to difficulty in breathing, heart rhythm problems, and even death. It is, however, preventable with vaccines for infants, children, teens, and adults.
Now, in spite of his low-paying job and coming from a poor family, Awolu Salisu has become an overnight national hero after showcasing a rare trait of honesty and virtue by returning millions of naira left by a passenger in his tricycle, popularly known as Keke Napep. Now, his gesture has earned him praise as well as gifts from individuals and groups who say he is a good example to his peers. Trust TV's Idris Jibrin met with Awolu Salisu to speak on his motivation behind his celebrated gesture.
Awolu Salisu is a commercial tricycle rider in Kano. He recently picked a passenger who later forgot large sum of money estimated at over 15 million naira.
It was on Thursday I picked these passengers from Ring Road. They told me I should drop them to Tafawa Balewa, and they promised to pay me 5,500 naira. So there is a bag, they are carrying a bag. I don't know what is inside the bag. It was after I dropped them, I came back to Enkaba. I was cleaning my tricycle when I saw the bag at the back of my tricycle. When I checked, I see that it's a huge sum of money that I can't even recognize the notes. So I took it to my mother, I brought it home, I told them this is what is happening. So they said I should keep the money and wait until when maybe we will hear an announcement on the radio. And eventually we had the announcement and we returned the money.
A 22-year-old secondary school dropout, Awolu resorted to tricycle business some 3 years ago, hoping to raise some money to further his education. Unfortunately, problem at home interferes with his plan.
I have finished my primary school. I started secondary school, but I dropped out from JS3. And this is largely because I don't have money.
We visited Awolu's family in higher quarters of Kano metropolis to meet with his parents. His father, Salisu Dambaba, is a butcher by trade. He says the day Awolu brought the money to the house, there was in fact nothing to eat at home.
You see, we are poor, but we are not illiterate. Even when he brought the money, the very day he dropped the money, I don't have 1 kobo to give these children. It was my wife who went and borrowed 150 naira. She bought gari for the children, and as you can see, we are 10 in number, and that is how we kept on managing. We kept the money, believing that even if we touch this money does not belong to us. And we thank God that the owners have come around and we have handed over the money to them.
In recognition of his sincerity, the Kano State House of Assembly has resolved to invite and honor this tricycle rider over what he did.
I called that the house should invite this young man, let him come to the house or at the floor, then get a commendation letter written by the State House of Assembly so that he will keep for history. Then I called on the state government to look at the condition of the ball.
Awalu is now celebrated as a trustworthy tricycle rider, as he is being celebrated by both family and friends across Kano State. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
A remarkable individual. Now, despite the dangers involved, a lot of residents live under high voltage electric power lines. Now, Trust TV's correspondent in Gombe State, Ibrahim Ismail, speaks to residents and development regulatory body on the dangers of building houses under high tension power lines in the state.
Experts say residing under these high voltage electric wires is dangerous and it could be deadly sometimes. Are Nigerians aware of the consequences of erecting structures under the powerful electric wires? Gombe residents share opinions.
Building on a high tension, under the high tension, is very, very risky because it can cause havoc, especially when it sparks. And the sparks can even touch the house, and through this touching the house can even catch fire. And it's very, very risky in the society. So for me, it is not advisable to buy land. If I am to buy land now, I will check where the high tension did not pass. I will find a place whereby it is safe.
But surprisingly, some people are aware of it, yet they keep staying near the high tension lines or under the high tension lines. While in some cases, it's clearly a case of ignorance. Some of the local people don't really appreciate or understand the danger of doing so. And in some instances, I'm privileged to know that there are people that know that yes, there is a danger in this, but because of the pressure of society, I mean social pressure, either they have a shop that is recognized there, or they have a business, or even if they want to relocate, they don't have the capacity to relocate now, they have been deceived into buying the plot. It has become also difficult for them to move away from the high tension lines.
Gombe State Urban Planning and Development Authority said it will not relent in the enforcement of laws that banned building structures on high tension wires.
All these high tension wires are built in the bush, throughout the bush. They follow areas that no residential buildings there. But now people are increasing, and what they do not know is that wire, that is, they are supposed to give right of way, because that wire is very dangerous to everybody, including us. So they are demolishing any building that is on the right of way.
Experts say residing under high tension wires exposes one to great environmental hazard, while living close to telecommunication masts could expose people to radiation, which may cause health complications. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Now, Trust TV and Daily Trust newspaper have won West Africa Broadcast and Media Academy 2023 Political Reporting Awards ceremony held at the American Corner in Ikeja, Lagos on Friday. Now, the media organizations backed the awards of excellence in the 2023 election coverage and in both broadcast and print categories. Hamid Oyebade, who is also winner of one of the awards, tells us more.
In recognition of the media role in sustaining democracy, especially in the aspect of election coverage, outstanding journalists and media organizations in Nigeria received awards during the closing of the political reporting project implemented by West Africa Broadcast and Media Academy and the Enugu Literacy Society with the support of the United States Consulate General, Lagos. The 2023 WAMBA Political Reporting Awards ceremony held at American Corner, Ikeja, Trust Television and Daily Trust newspaper won the Excellence in 2023 election coverage, both in the broadcast and print categories. Also, the Osun State correspondent of the Daily Trust and Trust TV, Hamid Oyebade, bagged Political Reporting Award. Oba Adeoye of Arise Television, Lagos, won the Photo Video category. Ekemini Udo of Redemption FM, Abak Akwa Ibom State, won the online category, while Juliet Buna of Crest FM Ibadan, Oyo State, won the radio category. Other recipients include Channels Television Lagos, Silverbird Television Lagos, Wazobia FM Lagos.
Each of you here today played a very important role in the 2023 election process, and we at the U.S. Mission are very glad to have been able to support you through this project in your efforts to provide objective and balanced reporting on the elections.
So today's awards have been an effort to recognize the media houses and the political journalists that have gone far beyond the call of duty to present the Nigerian elections in a credible, accurate, transparent, and responsible manner.
We are grateful to Wamba for this great award, and we feel that it's a great opportunity to encourage us to do more.
I feel elated and I feel happy that the little effort we as journalists are making into nation building, someone somewhere is taking note of them, and it's good enough that such works are being appreciated.
I feel really impacted to do more because once you receive an award, there's that notion, okay, this is, shall I say, this is a proof, or this is more like you should do more.
I also appreciate WABMA for recognizing my little efforts. It was just something I did and I put in for the awards, and here we are today. I'm grateful.
The journalist said the award would spur them to do more in discharging their duties as the watchdog of the society.
Chiamaka Wanfo there with Hamid Oyegbade's report. Once again, congratulations to Daily Trust and Trust TV, especially Hamid Oyegbade for that award. You're watching the News Hour. We'll be back in just a moment with more stories. Join us again. Welcome back. Now, the early retirement of top managers of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, who still had up to 15 months left in service, is generating mixed reaction among the oil and gas industry observers. Chamunda Beng reports that some experts believe that the move will have little or no impact on the efficiency of NNPCL's operations.
The Petroleum Industry Act, signed into law in 2021, allowed for major reforms to be carried out in the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, one of which was a transition from government-owned company to a limited liability company. Since the ratification of the PIA in 2021, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has continued to restructure the company. The NNPC Limited announced Tuesday that it had retired 71 of its top managers, as well as carried out employee reorganization at top management cadre. However, the move by NNPC Limited is seen by some experts as insufficient and merely a distraction from the real problems.
If you look at the situation we are in now, this
harsh economic environment that we have. It's all brought about because of the mismanagement in NNPC, especially when you look at the area of subsidies. NNPC was the only organization importing fuel, the subsidies, and there's a lot about subsidy, the corruption in subsidy, how it was mismanaged. So, and that's what we're paying for now, dearly. They just are paying for that. We sell crude oil in this form as raw. We do not refine. This is under NNPC. The refineries are under NNPC for so many years. So, and then this has become a drain pipe, or huge drain pipes on our economy. So the sad thing is that nobody is punished. They just say, okay, go home, go enjoy whatever you have taken from us. Nobody cares really as to the effect it has on the larger economy.
Engineer Sani wants President Tinubu to look further, stating that questions needed to be raised and answered. Speaking from a financial perspective, financial expert Dr. Hosseini Mohammed says the move will have minimal impact.
Principally, the effect wouldn't be that much because once it's unbundled as they are doing now, you should expect a lot of changes that will come up. And as we all know it, these people are already on their way out anyway. So why keep them? We can't say totally there wouldn't be any implication. Assume even if there are 10 people, by the time you disengage 2 or 3 people, of course, the workload will have to be more now. But the major question is whether NNPC take that decision or not. You already said you are disinvesting, you are unbundling. Those who are coming in will have to ask these people to go anyway.
This is not the first time the NNPC Limited will let go of a large number of its staff. A similar scenario happened about 2 years ago, though the company opted for a different approach this time. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, President Tinubu has called on Nigerians in the diaspora to shift their mindset towards success and consider returning back home. The president made this appeal during a presidential town hall meeting with Nigerians in New York. The event, organized by Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, took place on the sidelines of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. President Tinubu stated the need for change of mindset and urged Nigerians to embrace the abundant business opportunities available in the country.
Forget the frustration of previous years of leadership. I commend the effort on the out-of-school children, the healthcare program, the need to eradicate poverty. Sincerely, we have no reason to be poor. Yes. We are just poor in some leadership areas. Yes. The driver of our project, all of you collectively, either your parents, your husband, your wives and sisters, we have a reason to be proud of Nigeria.
Staying with developments on the international scene, at least 49 persons were arrested in Ghana's capital, Accra, on Thursday as the police tried to prevent protesters trying to storm the seat of government, the Jubilee House, on Thursday evening over lingering economic crisis in the country. The police, according to eyewitnesses, physically assaulted the protesters who gathered in their red and black attires to show anger over hardship in the West African country. Some journalists were also picked up but later released. The protest was organized by Democracy Hub, a governance advocacy group which condemned the use of brute force to thwart a peaceful protest, according to a statement issued on Thursday. Police spokesperson Juliana Odeng did not comment on the abuse, but said they were picked up in, quote, connection with an unlawful assembly, citing a last-minute court process by the police to stop the planned demonstration. Ghana's largest opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, described Thursday's police-civilian clash as a shame on Ghana. Many Ghanaians have criticized the government for using force to quell civilian protest. Now, for the latest in sports, let's join Emmanuel Faseni for more.
The Nigerian Cricket Federation has donated playing equipment to all 13 participating states, including host Delta, in the cricket event for the 2023 National Youth Games, which is holding in Asaba, Delta State. Items donated are 30 junior batting gloves, 10 junior batting pads, 5 junior wicket keepers gloves, 30 youth bats, and 40 youth gloves. The board also donated 18 packs of balls to ensure its smooth execution of the event, which will be played in 3 formats of 1 day 50 overs, T20, and 6 aside. NCF said the timely intervention is in line with the first of the 5 key strategic pillars of development by the board of the NCF, which is promoting the game of cricket at all levels, male and female, through grassroots development in the 6 geopolitical zones. The donation will ensure participating states have standard equipment to facilitate the tournament and also take back home, which in turn guarantees that these states will possess the right equipment to continue training. Argentina captain Lionel Messi said he is unsure about his participation in the next FIFA World Cup to be co-hosted by the United States, Mexico and Canada in 2026 when he will be 29. Messi said he is focused on 2024 US co-hosted Copa America tournament. Messi led Argentina to victory against France in the FIFA World Cup in Qatar last December. The 7-time Ballon d'Or winner left PSG unhappily to join Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. And that is it on sports. I am Emmanuel Fashioni.
Well, that's our bulletin for tonight. Thank you most kindly for joining us. We do appreciate you for the time and company. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms for more content and visit trusttv.com for the latest news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching the news and good night.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.